and we're brought to you by our friends at Centris Federal Credit Union. It is time to consider breaking up with your current financial situation and seeing what Centris Federal Credit Union has to offer. Just because it's Valentine's Day doesn't mean you have to stick it out with your financial institution. Maybe there's something better out there. Check out centrisfcu.org to see all their offerings and services and to chat with an expert about your specific situation. Centris is federally insured by NCUA. DB,
what's up?
There's something I wanted to get to, and we got sidetracked because somebody asked a good question in the chat, so appreciate Max. But we had been talking about last week our friend Dylan Raiola, somebody that we won't look at until at least another year away draft class, right? And you said something that got a little bit of run that I think people maybe didn't take the right way about Dylan. And then Coach Rhule kind of said the exact same thing on Saturday about Dylan and some of the things he needed to work on.
Oh, I got you. So I've been on that one for a while.
You have.
Right? Like that was the guy that I said, this was the Brunts conversation.
The most improved. Or who?
I said, hey, we don't talk about this a ton, but how about if we want to look at development, how about we take Dylan?
Yeah.
Like I would probably start with Dylan as the most important developmental piece in this program.
And I'm not going to fight you.
I mean,
I'm not.
But nobody, so at the time, nobody really agreed.
I thought there were other guys.
And there were also other good ideas.
But I didn't think you were crazy.
Where I almost got off.
Yeah, you did almost cave.
I almost got off of Dylan. I was like, okay, yeah, I like him.
I said Keona Davis, and you kind of vibed with that one.
I like the Riley Van Poppel one. I like
somebody said Gatula, I think.
Somebody gave me a good old. Was it Gatula?
I think so. Because I think they're like, hey, if you've just got a left tackle that's like a dude.
Oh yeah, great. And I kind of was vibing.
Yeah,
with
that makes sense.
I was like, I didn't even scoff at Brunts' Emmett Johnson.
Sure.
Because I was like, oh shoot, if they could run the ball like that,
if you get the flashes where he looks really good most of the time, Emmett Johnson's super valuable.
And so I almost got off of it. But then, after the basketball game and being in the locker room in Kansas, just all this other stuff, I was like, you know what? Nope. I'm going back. I'm going back to young Dylan. And I do remember. So I didn't get a ton of pushback on, like me saying it. I did get a couple of questions on if people would hear that and think that I said he wasn't in shape.
Well, especially because not originally on the development, but later when you started to specify, like, what's it look like if he gets an elite level condition?
Yeah.
Right?
And I talked about your best players being
working the hardest.
And I said, imagine if you add elite level fitness and elite level shape with the talent, the charisma, the natural leadership.
And to be fair, the game prep. I do think it seems like he spends an ungodly amount of time watching film and like doing the mental prep of being a quarterback.
100%.
Because
he's pretty bright.
Everybody you talk to, I mean, we heard it from Ty Robinson at Senior Bowl last week. They're like, oh man, that guy's.
Well, how about the receivers that say
film.
That he's like, this guy's like the first one at the stadium?
Yes, like that's so. When and somebody asked me after you said that last week, they go, is Dylan not work very hard? And I go, no. I think it's that's not what you were saying at all.
No,
I think we heard Coach Rhule kind of expound on that last week, right? On Saturday.
Do you realize I did not go back and listen to that until you told me
after the show yesterday?
You go, hey, your guy said exactly what you said. And I was like
strangely specific.
Hey,
because
Shano, do you have that clip ready? All right. So
before he can make it his team, I think he has to make it his offense. And before he makes it his offense, I think he has to make it like his receiving core. And so, I think it's, him this morning being here at 9, or 8 or whatever time working out and leading those guys. And so, I went to the Supernova game last night and he's over there with Heinrich and they're sitting courtside, which is great as long as you're in the building this morning throwing, which I knew they were. And so I think when you see, your best players, and Dylan's certainly one of our best players, when you see them paying the price each and every day, and that's what I mean by gratitude. Like, I'm grateful to be here. So because I'm grateful, it's not that I say thank you. It's that I work my tail off each and every day because I'm trying to get better. So, yeah, Dylan's got to get the receivers there every day. year one, you're like, I asked them, 5 guys showed up. Well, that's not leadership. That's trying to be leader. Leadership is when you get everybody there. And I think he'll do a great job at that. At the same time, mastering himself, getting quicker, getting his weight, to the proper weight, continue to learn the offense, mastering his fundamentals. And, now we have 2 other quarterbacks in there with him, mentoring TJ, mentoring Marco, and just in terms of what we do. And obviously Jalen Gramstad came back, which is awesome because he'll be a great vet for there.
So that's exactly what you were talking about.
100%.
Almost word for word.
100%.
Because you go, hey, the Kansas City locker room's great if you're getting the rest of the work in.
Yep.
What did he say? Supernova game is great. You better be working tomorrow morning.
Yeah, you can rock the Tominaga jersey.
You can do whatever you want
with the mock turtleneck.
As long as you're getting the work in.
Like your young guys got to see that you're paying a price.
Yes.
Yes. What you said, Coach.
What else did he get really specific about? He goes, I need him to get a little bit quicker. I need his weight to be where his weight needs to be.
Yep.
And 100%. How many times we say this? Coach Rhule is not saying anything to us that those guys haven't said a million times before.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? Dylan knows.
Yeah.
Dylan knows everything that Coach Rhule already said. But that's to your point about the development of Dylan Raiola.
I am glad he said that because it needed to be said because I didn't want to be the guy. And listen, those guys are my friend. I got a ton of respect for Donnie. Dom and I obviously talk quite a bit. But we have to be able to be critical.
Sure.
And not fear repercussions.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, listen, he's got to play better.
He's got to play better, and there's some things he can do in the offseason to help him play better next year.
And when you're that capable,
you almost owe it.
So that's probably more Coach Rhule's
fair
vantage point, which I understand. I would say it like this, just being my own man. I would say there is such power in bringing others along with you. When you go first.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, I totally vibe with that. Especially when you're that talented.
Yes.
Because
that's why I would start with him.
It's one thing if
I'm very glad he said that because you have to say the quiet part out loud.
Sometimes, you a lot of times you do.
And I'm consistent, man. It's the same thing I said about Coach Rhule. I don't want that guy having too much power. You have to have somebody that can check him.
Yep. It's a good thing. That's why it's a good thing Phil Snow's here.
Right? I don't want Dylan having too much power. You have to have somebody that can check him. Part of that is, hey, I'm conditioned, right? Super Pavlovian, where I watch guys cuss T-phrase out, or I watch, somebody want to, I watch Jason want to slap Wiegert, or
100%.
I watch Wiltz want to fight Jason Pete.
Nobody can be untouchable.
Nobody, you can't be above reproach.
Yeah,
it just doesn't work.
Right.
And
it's one thing if Jalen Gramstad works that hard. It's a totally different. And no offense to Jalen Gramstad, I'm sure that Coach Rhule is thrilled that he's back this year. But it's another thing if Dylan Raiola works that hard.
Yeah.
Because, and here's the thing. I do think Dylan works really hard. I think it's a focusing of his efforts in the right spots.
So I would bet you know what it is.
What's that?
So it's paying enough. It's having enough self-awareness to do the things
that suck,
that haven't historically been good at,
and the things that maybe you don't like as much.
Yeah.
You don't like
that. That's where the real power is.
It's really easy. I'm sure he loves throwing with his guys. And that's useful. That's good work to get in.
Yeah.
But it's easy work because he loves it, right? I'm guessing that dude loves watching film. From everything you hear, it sounds like that dude loves watching film. That's easy because he loves it. You know what's easy for me? I loved bench press day. When I was a power lifter, loved bench press day.
You know what's not natural?
What's that?
Cheering for other people that play your position.
Yeah.
When you get good at that, that's when the magic happens.
Yeah. Now, that's hard for him now, because he's not really in competition with anybody else in that room.
But guess what? So let me tell you something.
But you're mentoring?
He is, but he isn't.
Yeah.
He's in competition with doing what doesn't come natural, and that's to lead young pups. That's his challenge.
Yeah.
That's the equivalent to me being able to cheer LP or Clinton or
maybe
Amon or whomever else on.
Maybe.
Right? Or Abdul to look at Reggie Ball and say, hey, man, go get him, Reg.
Yeah.
Or, Corey Dixon to look at Abdul and say, hey, man, go make that play. Or William Washington to look at Tremaine Bell and say, oh, my gosh, you're the vertical tight end threat now? I would like for that to be me. But, hey, Tree, do you.
You go get him.
Right? That's
but
tough.
then
That's tough.
you're competitive as hell the rest of the week.
Yeah.
But day of, you gotta be supportive.
That's tough.
Right? That's a tough place to live. Like that's a tricky line to walk.
Yeah. Hey, Book, Tyrone Williams, go get him.
Yeah.
It's hard.
That's going to be something really interesting to see as Dylan Raiola develops and progresses this year. Can he walk that line?